Hi, welcome to the video. Make sure to like and subscribe if you enjoy, and comment your thoughts and opinions on the stories. Let's get started. Am I the antagonist for defending my friend and saying my wife needs to work on her insecurities? I've been married to Jessica for 13 years and we have 2 girls, 12 and 5. I have a female friend, Madison, who I have known since before I was with Jessica. This has never caused much of an issue, because I met Madison through her ex-husband, who is still one of her best friends, and we usually hang out in a group. So Jessica has never felt jealous or threatened. She doesn't like Madison though due to clashing personalities. She feels Madison and our mutual friend, her ex-'s wife, look down on her, but she can't come up with any examples and admits it is just a gut feeling. I don't know what to believe there, because other people have told me they felt that it was Jessica who hated the 2 other women. Madison has a glamorous life. She used to work in fashion and married a guy with fuck you money. So my 12-year-old has always been in awe of her just due to the clothes and the parties. This annoys Jessica, but we never thought much of it. Jessica is more the girl next door type and looks down on Madison for some of the glamour. My 5-year-old has been having some behavioral issues lately, so we are working on that, but everyone is a little tense. Madison and her current husband stopped by Saturday night after attending some sort of gala fundraiser, because he lent me something and needed it back. Madison was dressed up from the gala. Our 5-year-old heard the noise and it woke her up. We had been having a tough day with her behavior and my wife was burnt out. She saw Madison and said, "You look like a princess. You are so pretty and your dresses are so pretty. I wish you were my mom." Madison laughed and was like, "AWW, thank you," which Jessica thought was insensitive. When they left, she went off about what a bitch Madison was. I thought it would blow over, but she has been pressuring me to distance myself from the friendship. I argued Madison didn't even do anything, and it was about a dress, not my wife. But Jessica says that it doesn't matter what Madison did. She is my wife, and she is uncomfortable, so that should be my priority. Today she brought it up again, and I snapped at her that she needs to work on her insecurity. No one did anything wrong, and I'm entitled to a life and friendships which don't get to be dictated by her insecurities. Obviously that did not go over well. Now for the top comments. From some of what I've read that you have said in the comments, there are a few things that I think are really important factors that you omitted from the post. 1. Madison and her ex/your BFF were only married so that one of them could access a trust fund. The 3 of you are still very close and have a once a week dinner date. 2. You and your wife were in counseling for 2 years, but stopped because it wasn't helping. You've discussed divorce and even have spreadsheets that line all the financials of it out. But since your wife does not want to work outside the home, she decided to stay married. 3. You say that you and your wife have little in common and don't share a lot of personality traits. This includes friends. You're not a fan of hers, and because she dislikes Madison that means she doesn't like any of yours. 4. You are not romantic. Self-declaration and totally fine. To the point that in all of the comments and throughout this post you don't say that you love or even like your wife once. Beyond the point of AITA or not, why did you decide to marry and have children with someone you seemingly don't enjoy or like outside of her being a great mother to your girls? Is it just because she got pregnant? Married for 13 years with a 12-year-old, so I'm just guessing here. I really hope you show your girls love and affection, because I'm doubting they see you show any to your wife. I have always had opposite gender friends, so please do not misinterpret this as me saying that you shouldn't or that it's wrong in any way. But the fact that you don't seem to like your wife and you don't seem to have any compassion for her insecurities, warranted or not, really doesn't paint you in a good light. Why are you married? Dude, I went through all the comments and the only reason you're still with your wife is that she doesn't want to work. You guys need to have a conversation about the working on the marriage within limits thing, because clearly it's not working out. This isn't just about a comment your 5-year-old made. It's about a shit ton of stuff not mentioned in your post. NTA. If I had a quarter for every time a child said something less than sensitive, I'd be able to afford those fancy dresses. 2. It's natural for a child to see the shiny pretty thing and want that. Your wife is the one with the problem and yes, should get some therapy to sort it out. It's not your responsibility to make your wife feel better. Actually, you can't. You could cut the whole world out and she would likely still find something to feel insecure about because she's looking externally to fix an internal issue. Couples counseling would be a good way to navigate finding the balance between being supporting and being an emotional crutch. Am I the antagonist for using my son's savings to get his stepbrother's car fixed? My stepson, 19, got a new car from his bio mom. She and her family are well off and unlike me, they could afford to buy a car. I'm happy for my stepson but my son, 17, isn't. In fact he complains about how unfair it is for my husband to let his ex gift their son a car but not him. It's unreasonable I know, but teenage years are mostly hard and it's even harder to expect the kids to be reasonable. My son wanted to take part in driving the car as a compromise or else we would have to get rid of it. I sat him down to explain to him that the car is his stepbrother's property and he shouldn't be expecting to drive it unless he's given permission. He was having none of it and kept giving us ultimatums saying he either share the car with his stepbrother or the car goes. When my husband confronted him, my son went and done so much damage to the car. He threw paint on it, ruined the lights, and damaged the front of it completely. My stepson had a breakdown when he saw it in the morning and husband was beyond livid after seeing the footages from our driveway cam and seeing my son damaging the car. My husband confronted my son later and all my son did was laugh and give him the middle finger. I went to take all of his camp savings for this summer to pay for the damages and gave them to my husband. My son found out and went batshit on everyone in the house. He accused me of stealing then trying to please my husband for sex then told his stepbrother that he warned him and so he shouldn't be blamed. He also said it was my fault for not getting him a car or getting my husband to get him a car in the first place to avoid favoritism and conflict. He's been spending majority of his time in his room refusing to come out or eat anything. I'm worried about him not eating because he did this once and ended up in the hospital for low BP. Now for the top comments. NTA, your son needs professional help. This is beyond teen angst or hormones. At his age, he should be able to comprehend that his stepbrother has a separate parent who he has no connection to and who can and will provide for her son. And sometimes this includes gifts. Your son should be grateful that his stepbrother didn't involve the police. What he did is a felony in many jurisdictions. And at 17, it's very likely he will be treated as an adult. Absolutely, there are way bigger issues here than a damaged car. Her son has some real problems that seem to have been going on for a while now. Completely agree. Amongst everything else, the whole allowing BO mom to buy stepbro a car without also buying him one struck me. Why would stepbro's mom buy ops kid a car? You need to get your son mental help before it's too late. Once he's an adult, good luck getting him help. At 17 he's too old to brush this behavior aside. He needs help as soon as possible. On his current path he's going to hurt someone or multiple someones. The things he's saying right now are giving me the creeps. NTA. He damaged the car and needs to pay for it. But he really needs help. Wibta, if I moved out because my roommate is pregnant. I do not like kids at all. However, I support all my friends that want kids and will be part of those kids' lives to help my friends. Here's the issue. I moved into a new place with some of my friends about 2 months ago and recently one of them said she was pregnant and does not know who the father is. I'm not judging her, we all love one night stands and sometimes things happen. However, I do not want to live with a kid, much less a newborn, and she can't afford to live anywhere else. We split the rent between the three of us, so if I moved out I know that they won't be able to afford the place on their own. I spoke to my landlord and he agreed to let me off of the rent contract. However, we right now pay about $750 each, and I know if I moved out it would go up to about $1,100 for the both of them. I told them I don't want to live with a new baby and want to move out, and they're calling me an asshole because my friends won't be able to pay rent without me there and that moving out, while my other friend now has to pay expenses for hospital visits. baby stuff and all that comes along with it's going to be very tight for money. Even at the $750 I thought about subletting my room, however no one wants to live with a new infant. Of course the baby won't be here for another 9 months, so I have time to think and plan. However I'm really set on leaving if she's staying. Now for the top comments. NTA, they can find a different roommate. Someone will need the place and maybe enjoy kids. But this is not your problem, it's her problem. You signed a lease based on certain specific truths, like the one where there's no baby in the flat. That term has changed, so you can choose to not agree to the new terms. They have options. You have options. Absolutely feel free to leave. You're not a jerk. Absolutely this. The only thing that matters is that the landlord himself has agreed to retract the contract. The housing market is so horrid right now. I know plenty of people will be willing to live with an infant if it means a roof over their heads. That room will be filled within 2 to 3 weeks of advertising. The friends are likely just mad because they had this vision of a working family unit where OP was partially responsible for looking after the infant and likely contributed to more costs because the poor single mother can't afford it. If a stranger moves in, that's not going to happen. NTA. How did it become your responsibility to keep the rent low for 2 grown adults? Exactly what I thought. Not the a-hole. Wibta, if I met daddy's do-over baby against his wishes? I, 36F, have never had a relationship with my dad. The one time I met him, he flat out told that I'm nothing more than a mistake he made at age 19. He lived a very affluent life while I was raised in abject poverty. He never made financial contributions to my well-being. Recently, his mother passed away. I have no idea how she found out about me because he hid the fact that I existed from his entire family. She left me a not insubstantial amount of money in her will, now sitting in a college fund for my daughter. This led several members of the family to question who I was and why she had left me money, forcing dad to confess. His do-over baby has contacted me and wants to fly over to meet. They live in the UK and I live in the US. My dad has made it clear that he is against this because it will derail her college-bound path. She's just turned 18. I must admit I'm curious as to what she's like. Wibta, if I met her despite dad's objections. Edit. For those of you asking why my dad thinks that meeting me will derail her college plans, because he assumes he knows what my life looks like. He thinks that it's a viral episode of Cops and that I will either get her arrested or convince her college is a waste of time. Neither of which is true. Edit 2. Wow, this blew up. Thanks for all the upvotes, kind internet strangers. Now for the top comments. NTA, your dad sucks and his other child can do whatever she likes. She is 18 years old. If it means she ends up resenting your dad for the way he treated you, then that'll be the bed he made. By all accounts he was a great dad to her, and I wouldn't want to damage that relationship. NTA, you and your sister are adults. You can do whatever you want. Your sperm donor gets absolutely 0 votes about anything to do with you and your life. I think he is disappointed that I didn't turn out to be a welfare mom with several imprisoned abusive baby daddies and a meth problem. It's almost like he is mad that I turned out okay despite him. NTA at all. You're both adults and can do as you please. No need to cater to the wishes of someone who isn't even a part of your life. I feel like it must be a shock to suddenly find out at 18 that you have a sister. Am I the antagonist for labeling my drawers to end mother-in-law's confusion? So, I have a really sweet mother-in-law, DH's mom, and we get along most of the time. However, when she visits a home I notice that she goes through my drawers in the bedroom looking for a charger or something. I find it a bit invasive and embarrassing, especially when she opens the wrong drawer that would have personal items in it like lingerie and then goes on to complain about how uncomfortable it is for her every single time. We've gone back and forth on this, and when I stated that she was wrong for even looking at personal stuff, she said she got confused and didn't know what drawer had the item she looked for. DH suggested I should just bring her whatever she needs instead of having go inside and look herself, but she never asks. So I decided to label my drawers. Meaning I put a sign on every drawer to eliminate dear mother-in-law's confusion. For example, I put socks sign on the sock drawer, then lingerie sign on the lingerie and underwear drawer, electronics, Macup drawer, etc. You get the idea. The next time mother-in-law visited, she walked into the bedroom looking for something while I was in the kitchen cooking. Minutes later she came in with my husband asking about the signs I had on each drawer. I told her I just labeled each drawer to end her confusion and help her find what she's looking for quickly. She looked offended and said that she was neither a small child nor stupid to be treated like this. I said I was really trying to help and also try to prevent her from seeing stuff that upset her in the past. She got madder and kept arguing, then left to stay at my brother-in-law's house. Brother-in-law called and berated both DH and I, and then DH lashed out saying I caused this mess and I needed to apologize. Now for the top comments. NTA, your mother-in-law should not be rummaging around your drawers in your bedroom to begin with, no more than she would want you to be rooting around in her drawers at her home. If she needs something that is not in a public access area, then she needs to ask for assistance and not go snooping through your personal stuff. She should especially not be going through drawers repeatedly, even after discussions about being embarrassed. The woman has no boundaries or shame and is definitely the op. You're blameless here and very patient. Someone else recommended locking things before she comes over, and this sounds like a practical solution to me. But if signs offend her, door locking might too. Op's husband should have spoken to his mother about boundaries, asking for a charger before it got to this. NTA, your mother-in-law is not sweet. She is invasive, rude, and deliberately causing issues. It's time to ban mother-in-law from going into your bedroom and from going through any personal drawers/cupboards in your home. If she needs a charger, then she'll just need to wait until you/your husband have a free minute to get her one. Or she can just keep her own in her handbag/car. Honestly, I don't see what other reason she would have to go into your personal drawers/cupboards. This isn't including kitchen drawers and such. Sounds like she's nosy and trying to start problems. Your husband needs to lay down both of your boundaries with his mum, and then if she can't respect them, or you, then he needs to tell her she's no longer welcome to visit. I'm trying to remember the last time when even my own mum or sisters have went into any of my personal drawers/cupboards at my house, and I cannot think of or remember a time. NTA, and you're kind of my hero. The signs essentially eliminated her excuse to snoop, and now she's salty about it. Hopefully your husband gets his head out of his ass and realizes that his mother is literally offended over you labeling your own drawers. If she didn't want to be able to snoop, why would that bother her? Wibta, for taking a DNA test to prove my brother is a father. I, 25F, haven't had a great relationship with my family since moving out. Cliche bullshit. Brother, 30, was the golden child. I was a scapegoat, etc. etc. Anyway, that made it for a rough relationship with them, and have really spoken to them for 6-7 years. Well, a few weeks ago I was contacted though Facebook by a woman who claimed to be pregnant with my brother's child. The problem is he is refusing to claim said child and wants nothing to do with the mother. She told me he has completely ghosted her and blocked her on everything. And apparently my mother has been quite hostile when she has stopped by to try and talk to him, and has threatened to call the police for trespassing if she comes around again. So she tells me this and asks if they'd be willing to do a DNA test after the baby is born so that she can take my brother to court. I told my husband about this in front of some of our friends, and one of them piped up and said I shouldn't get involved with something that has nothing to do with me, and that it'd be spiteful to do that to my brother. My husband kind of agreed and said I shouldn't get involved with my family again. I'm honestly not sure. On one hand, I don't want to have any of my family contact me after doing the test, but on the other hand I wouldn't want that to happen to me. My brother lives rent-free and makes more than enough to buy a house. He should have to take responsibility for a child he helped create. The baby is due in a few months, so I have time to decide what I want to do. I'm leaning towards doing the test, but would I be the antagonist? Update explanation. The most common response and question I've gotten to this post is, why doesn't she just petition the court to get a paternity test? I live in a not so well off area and this exact scenario happens all the time here. The lawyers should be able to have hundreds of these cases, and it will take years for her to have her day in court. She wants to have some shred of evidence to prove that my brother could be the father, so that it's more likely a good lawyer will take a look at her case, or that my family will see that he is the father and come to some type of arrangement with her. Now for the top comments. NTA, but you shouldn't have to take a DNA test here anyhow. The mother-to-be files with the court against your brother after the baby is born, and the court orders him to do DNA testing. She doesn't need to already know that he's the father to file. If he's not the father, the end result is typically that she ends up out of pocket for the cost of court-ordered DNA test. Time and money. Even before Op said it, how much time and how much money will the soon-to-be mother have to front to just get that paternity test done? How many other cases are before her? How is she going to pay the lawyer or courts? Even if she is 100% certain that he is the father, how long and how hard will he fight it before she can prove anything? If Op decides to do a DNA test and they are related, that's ammunition to get the case moving. That's not the court or the lawyer moving forward on word of faith. That's evidence. Of course, we don't know this person. It could 100% be a scam. She could have slept with half the village. She could have slept with only one. She may have never slept with Op's brother and thought he looked like a good meal ticket. We don't know. Not the a-hole, but I guess Op should make sure it's not a home kit. Go somewhere they can't alter the results. NTA. Absolutely, you should do it. With the way our country is going, women being forced to have babies, so your brother should definitely be held responsible for the child. Give them a chance in this world.